Commissioner Coates,
Here.
Commissioner Laird, Commissioner Nicolason,
Here.
Commissioner North,
Here.
Chairman Mill.
Here.
Stand and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, we have a whole mess of service awards through December 31st, 25. Don't have a whole lot of employees here for them, but need to acknowledge and thank them anyways. Employees are our business basically. Without these people, or even the ones that aren't being recognized today, yeah, we wouldn't be where we are, and it's because of our employees that county government can function and serve the people of Natrona County. I'm going to do it a little different. Dave thought I was kidding. I'm not. I'm going to let everybody, all of the board, minus Dallas, obviously, read a few of these people off. You take the file.
For 5 years, Taylor Kinder in the Health Department, Diana Quick, Health Department, Lindsay Strong, Health Department, Tatum Havlick at the airport, Kelly Berger, Clerk's Office, Charlotte East, the Clerk's Office, Rebecca Nickel, the Clerk's Office, Susan Beck, Road and Bridge, Micah Gabrielson, Parks Department, Joseph Van Meer, the Sheriff's Office, Linda Wright, Sheriff's Office, and Lester Sierra, Sheriff's Office. Thank you for being with us for the 5 years. I appreciate it.
Okay, for the 10-year, we have Kimberly Little with the Health Department, Tammy Smith with the Health Department, Lily Patton, Community Action, Amanda Kennedy, Clerk's Office, Ryan Schultz, SO, Tiffany Carlson, SO, Nick Martinez, Treasurer, Corey Davidson, SO, Richard Daly, SO, Justin Dorman, SO, Clifford Cisco, SO, and Natalie Smith, SO.
For 15 years of service, Teresa Harmon, SO, Gerhard Sanford, SO.
For 20-year service, Tracy Husby, Jesus Hermoslo, Brad Legler, John Bruce, Ashley Buckingham, Alicia Scherlinger, Scott Trunball, and Thelma Zach. Appreciate everybody being here for 20 years. That's a long time. 25 years, Melissa Patterson, SO. That is amazing. Melissa's been around here. I can't believe that. So, Nick, congratulations. Thank you for everybody. Like I said, I wanted everybody to read the names, not just me, just because, and they did a lot better than I did because I slaughtered a couple. But we as a board, as county commissioners, truly do appreciate everybody's work and everything that you all do for us as a group, not just me, not whatever. It's as the board. So thank you very much for sticking around for so long, especially you, Melissa. Holy cow, that's just insane. But seems like just the other day she was being hired, honestly. All right, well, onward and upward, and thank you again for everything you all do for us. Appointments and commissioner discussion items. First up is Tracy Good, Sheriff John Harlan, Assessor Tammy Salisbury, District Court Clerk of Court, Jill Kastner, Coroner Jim Whips, Treasurer Don Doyle, represented by Nick, I assume, maybe. Chief Deputy Treasurer Heather Bryan, IT Director Eileen Hill, and HR Director Danielle Kurchek. All are here to talk a little bit about the wage study, get it into our brain. We're having the meeting with the company that did the wage study next session, I believe. And so I just wanted everybody to hear from our electeds and from everybody, the directors involved with this study, where they are, what their positions are, what they thought, and specifically Sheriff Harlan, who was not so much a opponent of it as just very not sure of how it's going to turn out, and now is apparently a supporter, or at least sees the benefit of it.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I would just call it maybe I'm particular about that. So thank you for allowing some time for us today to come in, and thank you for starting out the meeting with recognizing our employees. So as kind of a general statement, you know, every month that as elected officials, we sit down and meet, just kind of keep up with each other and see how the people's offices can support each other. One of the things we've been discussing is particularly facing the possibility of strained budgets and the possibility of trimming budgets. As elected officials, having those core duties assigned to us in statute and trying to perform all those things that the public expects of us, we realize and have been talking about the importance of our employees and how the people that we work with actually provide those services to the public. So I guess part of what we wanted to share was that belief that we need to take care of our employees. And I know the board's always been very supportive of that. And we've kind of adopted the saying of people before projects. As times get tough, I think in budget sense, we got to remember those core duties of the elected officials and taking care of our employees that are actually performing those services to the public. So I wanted to share that with the board, and thank you for that. Going to the compensation study, you do know, you have known that I can be very particular about pay for the people that I work with. We were very fortunate over about the last 26 years to have chipped away and refined at a pay plan at the sheriff's office that has seemed to serve us pretty good. So any deviation from that, I'm pretty reluctant. You know, it's kind of been a hard fight. A lot of effort has gone into that. A lot of trials and tribulations over the last 26 years. So this idea of a compensation study came up. I was thankful to be involved in the selection of a contractor that put that information together. I can report to you that it's progressing in a very reasonable manner. And I think some things have come to light, and I've had some realizations through this process. One of those things is historically, every year I tend to look at the market, the other sheriff's offices in the state of Wyoming, surrounding areas, and do some wage comparisons there. But kind of what has come to light through this process of using Baker Tilly as our contractor, they have a way to actually start comparing apples to apples, which has been a challenge even when looking at market data. Wyoming's very diverse, as we all know, in populations, different economic situations of different counties and municipalities. sometimes those things are hard to get a grasp on when you're actually comparing numbers. And this compensation study has used a variety of different tools to kind of bring that into focus. And they have a way to, using what they call safe scoring, to go down and score, actually put a numerical value to different characteristics of each job position. The sworn positions in the sheriff's office are a little easier to compare apples to apples across that profession in the state. But sometimes in the civilian positions, of which I have 43, it becomes more difficult to really understand what an administrative assistant does at our sheriff's office compared to another sheriff's office, compared to a municipality. So this has been a great way to actually go in and using checks and balances, actually put a score, looking at things like the work environment, the physical work environment, the stress factors involved, education required for that position, skill sets. And it's a great way to actually be able to compare and have some justification for that, a way to quantify. So that all starts coming together, including things like the cost of labor, which is a factor of the cost of living for different jurisdictions where we're comparing, along with the actual numbers of the wages for those peer organizations that we're comparing against. So as we go through this process, it really looks like a pretty solid way. I think I've learned a lot of things last couple months through this journey. It's a pretty solid way to quantify. And I think that's the important part, maybe, especially to share with the board. You can actually go back and quantify why a position is paid the dollar amount that they're paid. So it's a lot more in depth than just saying, well, I know a position at the city of Casper or another jurisdiction gets paid this, so we should pay that. This is a way to actually break it down with some checks and balances to be objective, to take a look at all the factors that go into why somebody is paid what they are paid. And it's also good checks and balances for our public as well. They're not just wages that we drum up or, we like this person, so we're going to pay them that. It's all quantifiable, where you can actually look at it and decide this is why they fit into this pay scale. So far, so good. We'll see how the end product shakes out. I still have a few questions along the way, but just wanted to give you some of my opinions, some context to what we're doing. And I'll free to answer questions, Mr. Chairman, or turn it over to the next speaker. All right, thanks, sir. Well, potentially, it's part of what the compensation study is going to do is set forward a pay plan and some strategies. So I have to be able to blend that kind of with where our people are at in the pay scale that we already have. So essentially, the rules might be different. So we have people that are already on a trajectory, and how to blend that in the fairest way possible to the employee. I think so. I'm still waiting to see how that kind of takes shape, and looking forward to some more conversation about that.
Yeah,
Appreciate your
ditto to everything
brevity, Jim.
that Sheriff John talked about there. And I will reiterate like he did, there's been some learning that's gone on with this whole thing, even in my department, and looking at, as we talk as electeds and department heads, as a whole, and that there's never really been a base structure in this county when it comes to our people. And I'm seeing that hopefully out of this study, if nothing else, we gain that. So that it's not a fly by the seat of your pants type of deal when you're hiring people. There is a structure that's in place with progression, when we're recruiting people. I have probably one of the hardest places to recruit for that there is. I have to literally go out and dig in the weeds and find them. And I think that having this in place is going to help that, in that you can actually go out and show somebody, a potential employee, well, this is where you start. Here's the progression, and the requirements of the job, as well as if you do this, then this will happen. As opposed to like right now, when you look at like, say, my on-call investigators, it's like a one and done. They come on, they make a wage, and that's it. There is no structure to it that says, well, if you go out and get, say, an ABMDI certification, then maybe that means this, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, we'll cut it short right there.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just echo what Sheriff said and Coroner. It's been very educational, very eye-opening to see all the positions that we have throughout the county. This will be a foundation that everyone can use and recruit and hire and get talent and keep talent. So it's pretty exciting. So thanks. I would just say when we're just now getting all the numbers and really looking at all of the analytics and the data, and so it's just a process, part of the process, but it'll be good, I think.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from the treasurer's office, Nick? Overview? Oh, okay. Oh, well, no, you're going to represent the treasurer whether you like it or not. Tracy?
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I don't have any much to add, actually, but one of my concerns is that we go through all of this time and work and effort, and it gets shut down based on, money, of course. But I really think, like the sheriff said, our motto has to be people before projects. It's very important. This project has, I think, really brought that to light. And our people are required, yes, a lot of our jobs are on-the-job training, but they have to have a skill set to begin with. And it's very important. And in some of these factorings and the safe scoring and all of these applications that were put on these job descriptions, there's a lot of working conditions, mental, physical. There's so much that goes into all this scoring that really brings all of that to light on that we have specialized positions and they're not just, run-of-the-mill positions. So I would really implore the commissioners to really take a hard look at what's presented to you at the time that Baker Tilly does their presentation. Thank you.
Eileen, as department head, anything to add? Danielle, you want to come up and kind of give a wrap up on this? Dang it.
Well, like I mentioned at my last department head report, we're on schedule. We will meet with leadership tomorrow or Thursday. tomorrow. We meet with leadership tomorrow so they can see the preliminary results. We'll look further into the data from there and make sure everybody's in the right grades. And then the final results will be presented to this commission on March 17th.
Job descriptions, were they used? They were developed and used, correct?
They were. We still have some fine tuning to do with them, but we did enough work on them that they were able to pull all the market data, not a problem.
Any questions for Danielle on this? Wow, you guys are fast. Thanks.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
So I think the wage study is a fantastic idea. I think it does set a baseline. Wage studies in the past in the municipal environment have always concerned me because they're used as a, they can be used as a basis for raising wages, sometimes, without a lot of basis. I think this being one for the county, I think it's entirely appropriate. This was done for us, and it tailors it to exactly what the county does. Public service is one of those professions that no one gets into because they're going to get rich. They do it because they're enriched in their personal lives and they enrich the lives of their communities. So any way that the county can, and I know this board will take a hard look at what we can do within the fiscal constraints that we're able. But this board also looks toward the other electeds to help us do that. Where we can take care of our employees, it's a partnership. And so we as elected are, entrusted with public funds and ensuring the public good. And we know you are as well. So we really look forward, at least speaking for myself, and I'm sure this board probably echoes that, but to continuing a great partnership to help our employees. Thank you all.
Jim, I do have just a short. I think it is important, and I think it's good that we do have a baseline where we have everybody lined up. I remember Tracy saying a clerk's a clerk, and now she's not saying that anymore. There are differences in our employees. There's difference in our positions. There's differences in the responsibilities. And I hope that this will help us guide and give us a few more boundaries as far as what to work on so that we can take care of our employees and actually put them in the position that they need to be put in. And so they do have that path to move forward and to do what they need to do. And I think that's that part that I'm really looking forward to. I'm not going to say a whole lot about the rest of it because I haven't seen any of it, but I do know that that is important, and that's something people need to know what their career path is. If you don't, then you're just spinning your wheels hoping for the best, and that's not good for anybody. That's not good for the county. It's not good for the employees. And the employees are what make us what we are. They're the ones that take care of us and get things done. So appreciate that.
Oh, green means go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I come to you today with a security request, a security position for a full-time position for the municipal court and the 5th floor of the Hall of Justice. There are a number of benefits that work out for the entire floor throughout this presentation, but one of the things that I'd like to bring up to start with is that we are seeing a growing concern for safety in and around our government buildings, and that this should also include safety for our employees as well as the community members that we serve. Security within those government buildings is important. We're seeing an increasing substance use and substance abuse throughout our community. We also are currently seeing an increase in violent offenses through our entire community. The people that frequent those buildings are not only just justice involved individuals, but they are our community at large. Safety for our community is paramount. And I don't know how to, am I ready?
Yeah, you're right. Should just be the arrows.
The arrows.
Okay, turn it off.
It's on. I can't even get the little remote to turn on. Is it the red line? Oh, for Pete's sakes, it's a side button, not a top button. All right, see, this is how much I do these presentations in front of people, so. All right, so the security position that I'm requesting currently are the security for that floor is court personnel that is present during court hours only. This is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from roughly 9 a.m. until about 8. The security position currently requires a high level of certification at the initial hiring of the employee. We also maintain those trainings and certifications to keep them at that high level and maintain those standings. The security personnel currently does not interact directly with any of our youth diversion or child support individuals, but they are present on the floor during those court times. Proposing the position for the floor would be a presence on the floor from Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This would only be limited during our court hours. The individual is a floating presence in and out of the courtroom during those times. So from 9 to noon, they do float roughly every 5 minutes, are in and out of the courtroom, spending time in that lobby area and making contact with individuals, disseminating paperwork and sharing with them court process, but also maintaining security throughout the lobby area while they're there. Of course, the position would continue to require those high levels of certifications and trainings to continue those current standings. I find that that's very important with the skills that they learn and the things that they are then implementing throughout their security purposes. Security personnel then would be present on the court floor and would be able to do security for the entire floor and possibly be looking at some check-in processes for those other entities that are there on the floor. So why do we need this? Well, one of the things that I like to bring up, of course, initially is that we want safety throughout our government buildings. But the Casper Municipal Court is currently taking on additional violent cases. We've had a number of battery and assault cases that have been directed to us through the district attorney's office. They've chosen not to take those cases, so they've been directed to us. So we are receiving more violent offenders. They're coming out of our court. We also see a number of individuals who have state probation, and so they are on some level of state probation, not always for violent offenses, but they are already on a state probationary term, and then they come through our court. The same individuals that frequent our floor are there also for child support and or youth diversion services. And team members from all of the offices that are conducting business are affected by negative interactions on that floor. I don't know if you've been over to the 5th floor recently, but the child support window and the municipal court window are close to each other, just across the lobby from each other. If you have something happening at the child support window that is negative, that immediately affects the individuals that are at the window window at the municipal court and vice versa. I think that a lot of times, and I think you probably recognize that if someone comes in with a chip on their shoulder or a little bit upset, and they raise their voice, that then can either make individuals that are there in the lobby uncomfortable, or it can increase their volatility. And so one of those things that I find is that even having someone present really reduces those things. These negative interactions are not always directed to and attributed to municipal court. One of the things that I said while working with child support for many years was when you're messing with their kids and their money, they're not very happy. And so the child support window does also see a lot of those high-level negative interactions. The proposal for check-in purposes kind of revolves around the just the ability to assist on the floor. Clients that come to the floor, they come off the elevators, they're not sure if they're supposed to turn right or turn left, which window do I go to? A number of times they have to be redirected from the municipal court window to the child support window or vice versa. Youth diversion doesn't actually have a window that is represented in the lobby, so individuals have to walk down an employee hallway to access the youth diversion offices. One of the things that the individual could also be doing is redirecting some of the individuals that come onto that floor that aren't supposed to be on that floor. I think working as government entities and government individuals, we all know that they don't always know where they're going from point A to point B. We get a number of municipal individuals that come to the window and they've got a circuit court case. So we've now got to send them all the way across the street. But there's all sorts of general questions that we receive, like who does the title work, who does the, the VINs and things like that. Having someone who shares that information with those individuals actually helps a lot of our public and getting to the office that they need to get to effectively. One of the other things that I've looked at with this is the check-in purposes, and this would direct all check-ins for the floor and could also even provide some documentation. I don't know if you've been through City Hall recently, but they have the window that you have to leave information with. They give you a visitor pass as you come in, but if you're going to be there for any extended period of time or accessing some of those employee areas, they want to know who's in the building, and I think that that increases those security measures also. So I'd love to see something like that we could possibly be looking at least, like I said, recognizing who's on the floor and for how long they're going to be on the floor. The benefits that we have for the security and these check-ins is that negative interactions and things that happen tend to not happen when security personnel is present. I do see a limited number of interactions during the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 9 to noon because we have security present. Most of the interactions that we have where people come in upset or the voices get raised or things turn into something that we don't want them to turn into, like we need to call someone to come and assist. That happens when they are not around, when security is not around. The security training that I require for the individuals that work through the municipal court involve the de-escalation tactics and weapons training, same things that they're using at the law enforcement levels. So those are those high level of de-escalation tactics. The post-training that the officers receive is very, very effective. And so those kinds of things can even reduce the negative behaviors just by presence alone. Additional assistance for visitors that are there to visit with team members that may have a concern. As I was speaking about probation clients that are on probation with the other state or with state probation may also be on probation with our offices. When we have an individual like that coming through our office, we make sure our security team knows so that they know that that person is going to be individually meeting with one of my staff members and they are aware and are there for security purposes. That could be extended to the other offices on the floor. I know child support enforcement meets with individuals for intake purposes regularly. Sometimes they're not in the best of moods and sometimes it's nice to know that there's security available. Youth diversion, also you're dealing with some escalated situations a lot of times, not just with the kids, but with parents. So I think it's important to make sure that they know that they have those things accessible to them if we were to go forward with this. Check-in for the clients could include checking in for our probation. This is something that I would plan on doing with that individual, but also for those child support enforcement meetings and intakes that they're going to be meeting with those individuals. We could create a check-in process to let then the worker at enforcement know, or when they're doing their youth diversion meetings, sharing with them that we have so-and-so and so-and-so here in the lobby ready for your youth diversion meetings. Check-ins could include even as much as a name and the reason for their visit, and then looking at retaining those logs, retaining those for daily purposes and for audit needs. Reducing the needs for redirection from business windows. This is kind of like what I was talking about with the going to the municipal window when they need to be at child support or vice versa, or just generally at one of our windows when they need to be somewhere completely different. One of the things that I think that we have the benefit of when we work with these individuals is we know where they need to be even before they know where they need to be. And so being able to share that with them makes it much easier for them to get where they need to go. So the proposal for this is a 50-50 split with city and county/state. I do make that notation because I do recognize that some of those entities are on, like child support enforcement is on a cooperative agreement with the county. So I'm not really sure how they would possibly be able to share some of this cost, but generally the city and the county as being the owners of the building and the city as the essential owner of the employee, would be a proposed cost for a full-time position with the benefits package of $68,000 a year. So the city would like to request that we share that directly with the county at $34,000 a year, so that we could evenly split that. Then we would share those hours throughout the day and be able to see some of those benefits throughout the floor, and possibly even create some additional benefits throughout the building because of the need that is not required on the 5th floor for security purposes any longer. So that kind of ties up for me. If there's any questions, I would love to field any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. If you can bring me up to speed a little bit on this. Currently, there's a bailiff that is there the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to noon. And that position is a City of Casper funded position, is that right?
Correct.
So is this an additional position to that, or is this a substitution?
So it is a reclassification of one of my part-time employees.
So it's a substitution, not an addition?
Correct.
Okay. We talk about some of these big words like reclassification.
Oh, sure.
That's above my
That's a city word.
yeah, it's probably a county word too. It's just not one it's not one in my lexicon every day. Has this been brought in front of the Hall of Justice Joint Powers Board?
No, it has not.
Is there a reason for not bringing it in front of that board? Because as you're aware, generally we try to run costs first to that and then to its constituent parts.
I would be happy to do the presentation with the Hall of Justice Board. This was just my first step. And this was the direction that my finance department had given me, is if you could meet with the Board of Commissioners and see where we can go from here.
Leticia, I may be able to save you some time. We basically deal with cost of repairs for the Hall of Justice.
Okay.
And not employees and stuff like that. So it's not, it's more this board and the city council than it is the Hall of Justice.
Okay.
Because the Hall of Justice, basically all they do is look at the cost for repairs and maintenance of the facilities. And so
Physical
that's what
facility repairs and maintenance, but I don't know if it's contemplated, even that is correct with regard to what its traditional role has been. I don't know if it's beyond the scope of that Joint Powers Board, and so I think that somebody, council, might look into it at some point, just so we know. But anyway, moving to a couple other questions I had. One is, what is municipal court going to be in this building for the next 20 years?
I think it's very possible. I know that there has been the talk of the municipal court moving over to the Casper Business Center at the time that they finish that building. From what I understand currently, the municipal court is not part of the plans that they have currently that they're doing building on. It would be in a subsequent phase. And so I'm not holding my breath for anything, but I would figure at the very least, we'd be looking at the next 10 years. Very likely the municipal court being within that building before there would be even a talk of us moving over to the CBC.
Great. And Mr. Chairman, maybe after the commission's finished asking Ms. Drake questions, I see the sheriff's still here and he's well familiar with the building. And just to maybe get his 2 cents on that too. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, in looking at the proposal, it almost looks like we're conflating two different positions here, one being kind of an information desk position with a security position. You know, I can see the need for security, being it, but it's municipal court, so I can see where the city would have its own security for the municipal court, which it does now, and I can appreciate that. I'm just not, I guess I'm not seeing the value in just the information sharing piece of it at the moment.
Sure.
So it doesn't mean I couldn't be convinced and I couldn't read into this more, but at the moment, I just don't really see the need to have someone that's highly trained in X, Y, or Z, essentially doing, you know, what's going to be a please go here or please go here function.
Absolutely.
If you can elaborate on that, I'd be happy to hear it.
I would love to. So I think that the security person is very much the necessity. I think that the information comes with just years of service throughout the county and throughout our state, our government. Currently, I have Oberts working for me. I don't know that that means anything to anyone, but Dan Obert was with our sheriff's department for many years. His son Nathan also works for me as a civilian court security officer or a bailiff. They both have a plethora of information, just being and working through the system for many years. It's really just an added benefit. The security is the main purpose. It's just an added benefit that they would have that, that understanding of those government offices that they work with regularly.
That's a change. Or it just make you change your mind now. Well, thank you for coming and showing us this proposal, an initial proposal. I had a couple of questions myself, though, kind of referencing off what Commissioner Coach said. You know, if they're at a high level of training, LEO training, you got a whole damn building full of cops.
I would agree.
Why do we need another one? LEO, if he's going to be laying hands on people potentially.
Sure. And so in that, I can absolutely understand that question, and thank you very much for that question. So one of the things that I think I like to look at there is that when you are working at the police department or the sheriff's department, you are very specifically assigned to those details. We are already short-staffed with CPD, and I believe that the sheriff's department probably could use a couple of extra staff themselves. The idea here is that I wouldn't be pulling from those individuals for some of the lower level items that we would be dealing with. The idea is that we would de-escalate those situations before it came to a hands-on situation. My bailiffs are also only able to detain. They are not able to arrest or take into custody.
Okay. And so, another question would be, how much does city assist with security or anything over at Circuit Court?
The city does not do any security over at the circuit court. Circuit court is directed by state, and therefore all of the security is covered under county/state employees. They also have their blue shirts over there that do the general door security. But that was the reason why we didn't bring anybody into the municipal court for security. We used CPD and individual bailiffs. We just recently, within the last, I believe it was 6 years ago-ish, that we brought in a CPD officer as representation for the situations that would take more than a detaining or a de-escalation.
Right. And so keeping that in mind, why a 50-50 split since city doesn't participate in cost of circuit county court as opposed to county helping with city.
Sure. And so it wouldn't be specifically for court interaction. The idea is that the 50-50 split comes in with the other actions that are available to that individual because of the floor that they're serving on.
That's about all I have for you. Thank you.
Okay, are you sure?
I know it's got
I'm
one
here all
more.
day.
I have just one follow-up.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned you have an employee already. So I want to make sure that, you know, if we contemplate this, that we're not doing this but for one employee.
Yes.
Because if we lose the person that has all this historical knowledge and this ability to interact with the community in a positive way, and all of a sudden we're faced with filling this position, then we might get into something where we're trying to pull from CPD, trying to pull from the sheriff's office to fill that very niche role that you're talking about.
Correct.
So, while there's value, I worry that this is kind of crafted for this individual.
Sure.
And so convince me that that's not the case,
Sure.
and then convince me that there's longevity to this without these particular people.
Sure. So one of the things that the city has asked me to kind of look at with this position is the backup within that position. So this is only a reclassification or a changing of the one position. I will still maintain a part-time position for the court security officer for those backup reasons. They would then be able to flow in because they would essentially have the same classification as the full-time employee. They're just at a part-time basis. So my idea is that I would never be pulling from the CPD to fill that position. I would always have a part-time individual to fill in when the full-time individual is not there. Second line of questioning, please. Give me that second question again.
Yeah, so if the person that you have now is not there, how does this continue in the same way?
Okay. And so the other piece of that is the employee development. And so one of the things that I want to be able to look at with that position is dealing with employee development, possibly looking at transitioning to other positions within. But then you would still have to backfill that position, but we would be looking at the same criteria, the same individual knowledge and skill base for that position if we were ever to be moving anybody out. But the part-time position and the full-time position truly except for the hours that they are working. The training would all remain the same. The individual job title would still remain the same. It would just be, I'm filling in for this individual who's not here today. The position itself, I expect that it would be able to consistently continue, even into the possible 20 years down the road, moving into a new building, using that position within a new building. Of course, if it would be a city building, I wouldn't be able to ask the Board of County Commissioners to share that cost. But the benefit to the entire floor is truly the security purposes paramount, but then these other individual abilities to help our community would then come in secondary. And because I would have those two positions working as interchangeable positions just for their hours, we would easily be able to maintain that position throughout.
I guess so. Fine. So comment, and then the final question.
Yes.
So the comment is, it doesn't really seem like we're moving toward a dollar savings if we're going to maintain a part-time position. I understand that there's backfill and there's those needs. So, kind of lose me on that piece. But I guess the other question is, have child support and have, youth,
Diversion.
yeah. Have they expressed these security needs? And if they have, why aren't they included in this packet?
So I, being a city employee, I did not directly involve them in the initial ask. I think that this is something that if the commissioners would like to entertain this, we could absolutely be asking those questions. I will tell you from past experience with child support, working in the district court for 18 years, child support is a highly, highly volatile position to be in. There's a reason that they're behind glass. There's a reason that they're behind locked doors. But there's also open access to their employee hallway. So when they come out from behind that locked door, anyone could be waiting on the other side of that door for them. And truly within that building, I hate to put this on the record, but with anything in their hands. So that's always been a high level of concern for me, even working through other county offices. You want to make sure that you're taken care of, that you're safe. That's one of the reasons why the security on the municipal court side of that floor has come to a complete lockdown. We have those security doors in place that completely lock down the employee hallway at this time. I know that that's something that the child support enforcement offices have been looking at. They've installed an initial door, but they have not been able to initiate a lockup procedure for that door. So again, we still have people who have access to that floor who can just readily walk down that hallway at any time, whether they have business down that hallway or not. Yes, yes. If you would like more information, if I can do anything else, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to assist.
If you'd hang out for just a second. Sheriff Harlan?
Mr. Chairman.
Thoughts?
Well, you know, in Wyoming, the state statute says that the sheriff shall attend all courts of record within his jurisdiction. Of course, courts of record apply to the judicial branch of government. So you have the Wyoming Supreme Court, District Court, Circuit Court, and our new Chancery Court. And so obviously, through funding that you set aside, I'm in attendance to all those courts. Municipal courts are established under the statutes granting authority to municipal governments to do such. So typically in Wyoming, you don't see sheriff's personnel in municipal courts. I appreciate Ms. Drake, bringing this conversation forward. It's the first time I've heard of it. But I can tell you the fifth floor of the Hall of Justice has seen many different configurations over the years, and probably not architecturally designed, most efficiently for the current use. I will tell you that youth diversion is staffed by a couple peace officers. I have one deputy over there. Casper Police Department has a sworn police officer that staff that. But they also are not in their office all the time. Part of their duties include them being in schools and probation office and home visits and things like that. So certainly can't rely on them for, being available every minute of the day. I was trying to think back as Mrs. Drake was talking, but I do recall maybe last year that we did a standby up in the child support enforcement office for an employee that was terminated, and I know that the sheriff's office IT folks that do the door controls, the access controls in the Hall of Justice, have lended some assistance, to try to control access to some of those back hallways on the fifth floor. But other than that, I think that's the involvement that we've had, the sheriff's office has had on the fifth floor. We could certainly, be willing to take a look how we can strategically organize the offices or doors to try to limit access to where it doesn't need to be accessed. But certainly up to the discretion of the commission and the city council if you want to staff a person at a wayfinding desk or a greeting desk.
Any questions for the sheriff?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. John, there have been substantial improvements on the fifth floor. Garrett has worked with the city, and we have definitely improved a lot of things to provide better security. And I don't know what the correct answer is, but I know that you are correct. It's an old building. They're constantly working on it to improve the security for the employees and the people that come in and out of there. So I know Garrett can answer some of these questions better than I can because he works up there all the time, and I know he works with Leticia all the time to identify different things with the judges, with the different people. So I would defer that to him as far as working with, if that's something that we need to do, then we can look at that. So
Thank you, Sheriff. And again, thank you, Letitia. You know, I would like to know whether or not the Joint Powers Board agreement for the Hall of Justice and the detention center is broad enough to cover non-facility repair and maintenance items, security, personnel, contract labor. I don't recall that, but I'd like our council to make sure. And and yeah, I remember when circuit court or county court, I think it was back in the day, was up there, and there have been a lot of changes to the building and some improvements, and it might, to me, bring up a bigger question, which is what is the future of that building, and maybe sooner rather than later, some conversation with the city might be what is their plan and are they committed to that building, and if so, then it might not just be an individual to help with, I'm just going to say wayfinding, even though that isn't the presentation, but to help people through the building, but also for the security component as well. But maybe then there are some, modifications to the building to not necessarily turn it into what, what is across the street in the city's building. Maybe it looks a little bit more like that. Maybe there are a whole bunch of thoughts that need to, go into trying to turn it into a 21st century building that has these kinds of uses. So I think that this could be a bigger conversation than just that split half and half employees. So maybe that comes up sometime this year.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Ashley. It's all you.
So legal update. So we mailed out the letters for the property owners on Squaw Creek. That was mailed out on the 10th. I know several of them have already received those letters because we've been receiving calls already. So Felicia and I have been, kind of fielding a lot of those calls, answering some of the questions that people have. Additionally, the notice for Squaw Creek did run in the paper. It ran for the first time on the 14th. It will be running again on the 21st and the 28th. So we are on track for all that for Squaw Creek. Question concerning Squaw Creek?
yes, Ashley, obviously we're already, I don't know if the rest of the commissioners have, but I've already gotten phone calls and I have been referring them back to you. Basically, the biggest question is just exactly what we're planning on doing. I've been telling them to either call Mike or get hold of you guys, but that's the biggest question that I've had is, from the people that live along there. It's just exactly what we're planning on doing. And, if they're worried about if the easement is going to encroach on their current property line or if it's an easement that's basically from the center line of the current road or what it is. And that's, if you could
Explain that.
spread a little light on that,
Okay.
it would make it a lot easier, because we can refer that back to the constituents out there and just tell them just exactly what's going on.
So, and I mean, the letter does this. All we're doing is establishing the road. right? So the road, while it was built, it was never legally established, correct? So we're just kind of fixing that, to make it legally established as a public, it's already a public road, but we're just doing, the legal documents to establish it. It is not increasing the size of it by any means. It's literally just from the center line. I was looking, I tried to find the exact width. Unfortunately, it varies. And it's literally just following that road, the width of the road. So it's not increasing any right of ways or anything like that. It's literally just establishing that road. And I did explain that because I know a couple people talked to you. They came and saw me today. They came up to my office and I just explained that to them. So happy to fill any of those questions. Several of them have asked to see a copy of the survey, so I have given them copies of the survey. One of the things that Felicia and I was talking about was maybe next time we have the situation of going ahead and sending them a copy of the survey along with that letter. It's not going to field all the questions. People are always going to have questions, but maybe just being a little bit more open and showing them where exactly it is might help a little bit. But that's something that Felicia and I did talk about the next time we have one of these roads. It's just going ahead and doing that. But yeah, you guys are free to, and Felicia, if I'm not there, Felicia, I've told her everything to say. She has a kind of a script written down, so she's been helping to field those as well.
Do we have that survey online where people could access it?
I don't believe it is online.
That might solve some questions coming forward.
I'm just trying to think of how we can put it on there. I can get with IT to see where we can put it.
Maps, yeah.
Could we put it with the public hearing notice that's supposed to be online as well?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking they'd be separate items and would be on the public hearings page, because the public hearing notice should already be online when you publish it in the newspaper.
Yeah.
You publish it online as well. That
So,
would probably be
Yeah.
an okay spot. A copy of the letter as well.
I think that would help because
Okay.
those are the biggest questions. People look at it and it's like, well, and what you just said, I tried to say that, but I wanted to make sure that it was correct. And that's the reason why I was referring them back to you and to Mike so that they could answer that. You could answer those questions and tell them exactly what we're looking at. But now that we have that clarity,
Yeah.
it makes it a little easier.
and Felicia and I will get that to get published or on the website tomorrow. We'll work on that. But so that's what's going on with Squaw Creek. Additionally, so East End Road, as I know we've kind of talked before, we've been doing some work with that. We finished the survey of the existing easements. We've also have the surveys for where the easements need to be, right? So that's where the road actually is, does not line up with the easements. So after meeting with Mike and Paul on that last week, we talked about, I'm going to send out some letters to those property owners, asking them to reach out to see if I can't get them to just agree to amend those easements. It would be a lot quicker, a lot easier for us if everyone just agrees to do those amendments. If not, we're going to have to go through the same process that we're doing for Squaw Creek. So that takes a little bit more time. I'm hoping that I can get a hold of them, and we can just do quick, easy amendments. So that my goal is to get those letters out this week. Title 25s, they seem to be going well. Felicia and I have kind of reorganized some things and where we're using Microsoft Teams a little bit more to kind of organize our cases and to do case management. One of the things which is nice, as I'm able to do my notes for the hearings on my Remarkable here, and I'm able to upload those notes right into Teams. So it's making things a little bit more organized so that if we ever have any issues with any of the cases, we can literally just go in there, pull that information. So Felicia and I, we've been working on really kind of trying to reorganize some things. We've been going through our digital archives just to try to see, because we've been having an issue of finding some of the stuff that we know should be in there. And so while we can, we've been trying to kind of clean that up and reorganize so that it makes more logical sense so we can actually find things. So that's something that we've been working on too. Additionally, I did just want to kind of give a shout out to Felicia. She's really been doing a great job helping me with all this. You know, it's just her and I up there, but she, you know, she's been managing a couple of the projects to really make sure that I can focus on some of the other stuff and just helping me to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks for us. So she's been a huge asset and she's been really helping me out. But that's all I have for an update. Anyone have any questions concerning anything on the agenda?
Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is for the clerk as well. Have we heard any great controversy on the liquor license applications coming before us tonight, or has it been pretty quiet?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Nicolason, I haven't heard any. I've had a few questions, but haven't heard any concerns.
Same.
We haven't received any complaints of illegal.
Alrighty, no questions for county attorney. Do we need to move into executive session potentially?
Mr. Chairman, yes, there was a couple things concerning property as well as potential litigation / employee.
I'll throw security on that too.
Litigation too. Other.
Take a motion, to move into exec.
So move.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're in exec. Yeah, I did. Okay, so you want to amend that, or do we need to amend the agenda or anything? Just bring it up later. Okay, so we're back from exec. What is this? There we go. So there's a request, since our fair board liaison isn't here. I'm going to read it with the email problems and whatnot. Came from fair. They have a requirement for some match for some funds grant that they're trying to get. Letter of commitment by the county. It can't be the fair board. It's got to be the county. And they're requesting this. Basically, you might have it. I'll read it to you real quick. To whom it may concern, the Natrona County Board of County Commissioners hereby commits to providing a minimum one-to-one match for funds requested under the Rodeo Grounds Pedestrian Transportation Infrastructure Grant Program. Matching funds are secured and will consist of cash contributions and eligible in-kind support, including staff, labor, vehicle operation, maintenance, insurance, storage, and administrative oversight. These funds will be used in conjunction with grant funds to purchase pedestrian transportation equipment as described in the submitted proposal. That is the letter that is needed in order for them to secure that grant, in order to purchase some transportation equipment that will be used at the fairgrounds for the rodeo, the fair, and the like. While that letter does say the minimum one-to-one match, there are funds that are set aside, that the board has set aside. They use if need be. Yes. What? The fair board, yes. So that is the proposal for the match, is that they'll use those funds rather than coming out of the general county fund. Do you guys want to move forward with this?
So, Mr. Chairman, they're not asking the county for funds, just the signature.
Correct. Now we're committing, be advised, we are committing, providing one-to-one. But it's Tom and the fair board's commitment to us that it won't come out of general fund, that it'll come out of some funds that they have set aside to work for this grant. This has been in process for a while now.
Do you know how much it is?
No, I don't have that right off. Let me see if
Personally, as long as it's not affecting the general fund
no, that was
and an additional request, I don't have any problem with it.
right, and that was the this is out of just the State Lands and Investment Rodeo Grounds Pedestrian Transportation Infrastructure Grant. They filed it already. It was the application was reviewed and found that it was incomplete due to missing documentation. That this letter has to be in by February 20th. Otherwise, they're no longer able to participate in this grant. That's what I have. Again, I'm not the fair board liaison anymore. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
did you want to go first, Dave?
No, go ahead.
So, to recap and to follow up on what Commissioner North was clarifying, they're not asking the county for additional funds. Either these funds were budgeted, or they are going to fair board budgeted, or they're going to be expended through fair board sources and maybe other budgeted items. They'll shift some things around, right?
Correct.
We don't know the amount, but we have, sounds like a hard deadline of February 20th. Yeah, ideally, this comes in a different way, and that'd be a letter that spells it all out and says this, you know, all of what you've read to us and what we've confirmed amongst us. But we've made exceptions in the past, you know, when people have had to scramble like this, so I'm not opposed to it.
That's, that's basically where I was coming from, as long as we have made exceptions on short notice in the past, if it's not going to affect us as a county as a whole. And so if that's what they need is a letter of support from us, or a letter saying that we will guarantee, I guess I don't have any problem with that.
I'm all for it.
I agree. It would have been nice to have this come through a little bit different with a little bit more information. But yeah, if I'd entertain a motion then to do the letter as written.
I will make that motion that we approve according to the letter written.
Second.
Motion second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Pass. If you'd print that out when you have computer access systems working or whatever, it'd be bueno. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
just as a follow-up to our previous meeting, the cost for the county to participate in the 1 cent survey would be $8,000. I know that was the question, so if we want to participate in that, we should probably do some form of a motion.
I'd make that motion to participate in an amount not to exceed $8,000.
Second.
Motion a second. Do we need discussion? No discussion. Move forward. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that motion passed. So budget 8,000, spend it for that survey. Anything else that we can deviate from the agenda for? No? You guys want to take a break or a little bit? Not much. You're a little early. No, it's all good. Okay, we'll be in recess till 5:30. Turn this on so people can hear me apparently. Next up is the approval of consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Got a motion,
Second?
second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Passed. Contracts, agreements, and resolutions. Do we have anything there? All clear there. Good. So, public hearings, excuse me. Public hearings, applications for liquor license renewals. So, I now declare the public hearing for open for consideration of liquor license renewals. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. May we have a report, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, attached for your approval are the 2026 through 2027 liquor license renewals. This includes 9 retail liquor license renewal applications, 3 county malt beverage license renewals, 2 restaurant license renewals, 2 limited retail license renewals, and 1 airport retail license renewal. In addition, in your packet, I attached a list of law enforcement calls provided by the Natrona County Sheriff's Office for the last year. I will make a note that looking at the calls for the Natrona County Central Wyoming Fair and Rodeo, according to the fair manager, general manager Tom Jones, a lot of these calls were placed during events that were held at the fair and rodeo, so not necessarily under this liquor license. They would be under temporary malt beverage or catering permits for events that were held at the industrial building.
So that was just site specific, not liquor license specific.
Correct. And I think for the most part, a lot of these are that same scenario. And then with that, all notifications and publication deadlines have been met, and I have had no one has opposed any of these to date. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Nope.
Madam Clerk, just for clarification, we don't have any record of any violations on any of these.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner North, typically I won't really know about any violations, so if the state comes down and does their walkthroughs, they may come and tell me. Some do, some don't, but as far as I know, have been no violations that I'm aware of. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions? All right. At this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of consideration of liquor license renewal to approach the lectern. This time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of consideration of liquor license renewals approach the lectern. And the final. At this time, if you wish to speak in favor of consideration of liquor license renewals, approach the lectern. Seeing none, I would ask those individuals to speak in opposition of consideration of liquor license renewals to approach the lectern. I would ask those that wish to speak in opposition of consideration of liquor license renewals approach the lectern. And final time, if you're in opposition of consideration of liquor license renewals, approach the lectern. There being none to speak for or against the consideration of liquor license renewals, I now declare the public hearing closed. Do I have a motion or any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if there's no discussion, I would make a motion that we approve the applicants as presented for liquor license renewals.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Everybody's got their licenses back. And at this time, we're open for public comments. Anybody want to make any comments, Glenn? Ma'am? We're here for public comment at this time. Did you need to address us or anything? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You're all good. We passed it. All right, no public comment, commissioner's comment, Mr. North. See you, Glenn.
Just for the record, last week down in the County Commissioners Association, we were discussing some of the renewable energies and stuff like that, and there's some really hard deadlines that are coming up for different projects as far as what will actually be tax deductible and what they can do. And pretty much, to put it in a nutshell, if they don't have it started by the 1st of July this year, they're going to have a very difficult time getting anything, any renewable refunds or anything like that. So I just thought I'd bring that up because we do have at least one project that I know of that was approved a long time ago that hasn't moved forward yet. So just bringing that to the public's attention.
Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the County Commissioners Association meeting last week, we had a chance to visit with our peers and colleagues from across the state, as well as engage with our legislative delegation from Natrona County and from across the state, other legislators. And it's always a great meeting, and I think that it's really helpful that the organizations such as the WCCA, Wyoming County Commissioners Association, and the Wyoming Association of Municipalities exist because they do good work in helping to present the case for local government and for an education for these legislators on what's important. And we hear a lot about potential budget cuts, and I am concerned about what the legislature might do to county and local government in general. And so I hope that they are wise. Sometimes I don't think they have a very good understanding of the complexity and all the work that we have to do, but yet the state holds a lot of the purse strings for our county. So I think that the public needs to reach out to your legislators, especially those in the Freedom Caucus, and tell them how important funding is for your local government. The other thing that I'm concerned about are the proposed cuts to the budgets for the University of Wyoming and public radio. I think both provide a wonderful service to our whole state. I think that a lot of the people making decisions down in Cheyenne don't have any relationship with the University of Wyoming or listen to public radio. And I think that's just the kind of thing, those are the kinds of programs that are going to pay dividends. And so I think they should be fully funded. And I think that people should reach out to your legislators, again, especially in the Freedom Caucus, and tell them to fully support the University of Wyoming and public radio. Thanks.
Mr. Coates.
So when we talk about revenues and taxes and income for our local governments, it's kind of important to remember that when cuts come from the state level and they hit local governments, it can shutter services. But more than that, those services are oftentimes tied to personnel. Those personnel are our neighbors, but they are also vital components to our local economy. So cuts to budgets along ideological lines or what have you, they have consequences that maybe aren't always foreseen. A key component of any elected office is statesmanship, And statesmanship, you know, requires you to do the right thing, not just what you feel is right. It's right for, you know, your community. It's right for the state. So I just urge all legislators to, you know, embody statesmanship when they're down in Cheyenne, work together, and don't draw ideological lines because it's not going to be good for the state. It's not going to be good for their constituents. So I wish them luck as they continue working through this budget session. And I hope that the state comes out better based on the decisions they make.
Thank you. I was probably going to talk a little bit about some of the attitudes, potentially down in Cheyenne, that that continue to want centralized government coming out of Cheyenne. It seems like, and yet espouse local control and the fallacy of having central control coming from the feds to the state, yet the state is more than willing by some of the legislators to adopt such practices toward the counties and municipalities, again ignoring their own words of how local control is best. I would hope that they can potentially evaluate their philosophies and come back to where local control is best. Closer to the people is how we should function, and I hope that they review their positions on some of the legislature that their or proposed statutes that they're looking at, to not take that local control away from counties and municipalities, and to hold it close within Cheyenne only. But there's a lot of hopes out there. And with that, good night.